Wasabaludongalors of Vabizos was Civilodongalors of Vabizos was Civilodongalors of Vabizos. What's your impressions of that chant? I know I've given you somewhat of a translation there, but
well, actually I wrote it down. It just came to my mind that sometimes when one is backed into a corner, they come out with some fierce courage. They come out strong.
And as I've said, as it shows on the board there in green at the bottom, the solstice is 7:58 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Tuesday, the 21st of June, 2022. So the nearest sunset to that is in Celtic and other European tradition and some other parts of the world too. The when to observe the solstice. Now, some cultures they observe it by the day, but I think at most in North Africa they observe their seasonals by the day, in the way of saying, but they observe it at different times of the day. Obviously, the hottest stuff is done in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
When it's only 100 degrees or something. They're in Egypt where it gets 120, 130 degrees. You definitely want to do your stuff before it gets full bore there.
Definitely.
Or they would do stuff at night too. I'm not saying that they didn't do stuff at night. Carnelian, of course, this obviously is not gold, but it has a gold color, so it fits well with the bright time of year, I think.
Yeah.
And so a carnelian, what does carnelian mean to you?
It just came to mind a good time to start things, new beginnings in earth.
Well, you can't really see here, but it's like the light kind of shines through it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're dealing with black carnelian, it kind of has a sort of fiery sort of thing. So it makes for a good little wand too. Okay,
I had some, I believe it's red carnelian.
Yeah, this is a red carnelian. So it's a willful sort of heart sort of stone, and things are out in the open with the gold color. What does the season generally mean to you? What this time of year?
It's well, actually it is a good time to begin things and start over, start new. It seems like there's more energy. Actually, it seems like there's more energy now than like the winter months and so forth. I guess that's why it's a good time to start things. You have more energy to do it.
Well, different things are. That's why I'm hoping I'm not disturbed too much and able to get my planting done. That one, I've been trying to for a while, and some sort of has to be. You can't wait till September or October to plant and just dump expect it somehow to catch up. You have to get some of that stuff done.
Work with the earth. Work with the earth.
Months ahead of time. Some pretty much everything you would have to have planted you know, June, July. Um,
Right.
unless, except the stuff that you're going to have like pop up in spring, but it's going to be sort of dormant. Some of that, but the stuff that like turnips and stuff like that, you do want to get them to grow as much as possible for the thing. You don't just figure, oh well, they'll become active in the spring, and
Right.
no, you want those out in the field, maybe slowing down their growth, but you know what, you want them active in the field. But well, as you some of the themes of this season, typically you have with Litha, you have stuff about the dance, not quite the same thing as in Beltane, but the thing about the dance, and it's more like the dance with the spirits that come out in the shortest night or something like that. And just like the other part, it's a bigger time for sexual or marriage rights or something like that. This is on hemp twine, if that makes a difference. I don't know, you know, different quality of twine. That's about it. I'm not going to get off. I got stuff made with hemp. No, does stuff work or it doesn't work? But you see the Solomonic triangle. Where's the thing? Yeah, I can't. It disappears. But you know what I mean. It's the circle with the thing that represents, you know, Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, so increasing existence. Primumaton, you know, the Achadrach, Achdutu Rash, Tumor Hazav Achid. I think that's the right phrase. The one is the beginning, one is the substance, that sort of thing. And you have the Anaphaxiton, so the spout thing, sort of like Ganesh. Really, all that Yahweh to Lord of Hosts sort of thing is actually closer to Ganesh than what people are thinking. Of course, Ganesh isn't exactly the same thing as an elephant deity. People see a statue, just like with the stuff in the Bible, people see a statue of what some Christian thought God might look like and think that that's what they're talking about and the only thing they're talking about. And Yahweh was a term used for ancient Egyptian entities too, whether God as a whole or like a, you know, Thoth or something. So it wasn't like, you know, and I got my seasonal ring here with my little flames on the side. And I should be able to hold it straight up to the camera instead of an arm's length away. That's not fair. Because see, I go like this and it almost will always disappear. Well, you can see there's a sun on the front of that.
Yeah.
So it's fitting to be the fire quarter ring. It doesn't really. But the questions that I open up with here are the what are the boundaries of home?
Well, the boundaries of home. Well, home can be anywhere you go. And sometimes home has to be anywhere you go. Yeah, a boundary of home, I would call it like maybe a personal boundary, considering, you know, anywhere you go could be home. So why not perhaps a personal boundary?
And of course, that relates to that rune right there. The second rune in the 14-word phrase is, because that's a challenge, it's something to repeat 88 times in something 14 words. Well, that's not per se a universal temple of blood thing, but you know what I mean. You know, the thing that's a diamond with the things sticking out. You know, that's the Athila, which is the home rune. And the next question, what was it? Why do you have the courage?
The courage for boundaries. Well, courage, even someone that may not, even a person that may seem a little timid, when backed into a corner, they can really come out of that quite fiercely. It's like breaking out of a shell, I guess you could say. So yeah, I see how that could be. Courage sometimes is just thrust upon us.
And to give some meaning that I have here, maybe there's more elsewhere, but the of the chant, 2 words here. We have civil, SVL, civil, feeding, drinking, attachment, and we have the word vabi or vabe, blood. And the verses that we have listed here, might as well list the verses. We're not going to go over those in this program, but from Tonic, or what they call the Old Testament, it's really a mistranslation all over the place when they call them Old Testament, because they kind of want to lead you towards it being the other parts, the New Testament, which is not really a translation either, but they call it the Old Testament because they want you. So there's a bunch of that hints you in that they're not translating things right because they want to twist it a little bit here and there towards that. Like the Lord thing, they want you to think that Lord, instead of saying God as a noun and verb or something that would hit it on the nail, they want it to, they want you to think it's Lord as in Lord Jesus or something, which is actually quite the opposite. But anyways, Exodus 4:25 and 26, 2 Samuel 16:7 and 8, and 2 Samuel 21:1. We have Psalms 5:6, 26:9, 51:14, 55:23, 59:2, and 139:19. Proverbs 29:10, Ezekiel 7:23, 22:2 from Ezekiel, and 24:6 and 9 from Ezekiel, and Nahum 3:1. And that, in Biblia, called the New Testament, we have Acts 28:8. And if you remember from if you've seen my calendar of the tarot thing, if I break up the 8 seasonals into the 22 trumps, and you have the devil and the sun as the cards for the summer solstice. And so we actually have 15 mentions of blood in the Quran. So of course I was going to include that as my selection there. We have 230, 284, 273, 492, 53, 645, 733, 8, 75, 12, 18, 16, 66, and 115, 22, 37, and 25, 54. Now, some of those verses have more than one mention, and I don't remember what those are. And I've particularly since doing the Goetia thing, I've had sort of a sacrament, you could say, of the whole thing. The Christians weren't the one to invent you got something to drink and you got something to eat, and it's sacred substance, it's spiritually imbibed, that sort of thing. They weren't the first and they're not the last. So, but I use something, carob or unsweetened chocolate or some sort of bread-like substance. That would be the one. And there's some sort of red juice or drink or something on that scale of the colors. And I usually dedicate it with, may it become our flesh, may it become our blood. And that's what I do with that. Because we're the ones incarnating the will here. We're the ones, and feel free to comment at any point.
Yeah, I've been making notes. Yeah.
But they've, and then of course it's consumed. You don't I don't believe in doing any ritual whatsoever where you, no, come on. My computer did this. I don't know why it did what it did, but I didn't lose the file, so I'm good. I don't do rituals where I banish. That's I don't do that. Now, if I want to banish something that I'm not, it's not my path, not whatever. I show up in the woods and find some circle jerk ritual, and I don't like the feeling of it. I want to banish and do things my way and go my way. Like I shared the story of that with you before. But yeah, but as far as what I do, I'm not, here's the eldest elder, in the Necronomicon, you throw up this sign and supposedly, oh yeah, never mind. Okay, I guess you repent of what you've been doing here, or whatever the thing's supposed to be. It doesn't work like that. They know what's up. You have to be serious about any change of pacts or anything like that. It can't be just, I take it back. Oh, dark, twisted spirit of the woods, or whatever, whatever. But no, but in the Catholic Church and stuff like that, you're supposed to do that too. You're supposed to, it's supposed to be a solemn event. You're really imbibing the thing, and you're not supposed to, it's not a regular meal. And that's basically what I mean, is you maintain the trance. And if I do this stuff with others, that they would be allowed to share their experiences, but it's not, if I'm saying the verse, people wait till I finish the verse, or wait till whatever. I mean, if it's an online chat, whatever, comment, I'll get back to you later. Maybe, but the, people can intercede with their own comments. I'll try to have a comment with everything, because as I said, whether you agree or disagree, and some of that stuff in the Bible, people may notice through the years, I skip stuff. When I'm ritually using something from the Bible, I tend to skip something because there's like stuff in there like, oh, come on, you don't necessarily have to be vegetarian all the time, but eating vegetables doesn't make you weak. If you eat meat all the time, it actually breaks you down. Have a couple meals a week or something, but that's fine. But and some of the stuff that Paul says about women is kind of, or that thing about in the Psalms where you bash the babies of your enemy against the rocks, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not reading that part of the Psalm, at least not. But anyways, and then you see those lines there. I usually just let it happen when it happens, or if it happens or whatnot. But glossolalia or whatever, I plan to try to work myself into a trance and break into saying weird stuff, basically. And either I never know what it means, or it's just making sounds or whatever. But when you put it in context, the speaking in tongues thing has its, it's thing on its own.
How do you begin when you go into the trance state? How do you begin that?
Well, it depends on what one's done before, right? And the type of trance, as you see here, like I say, particularly with Temple of Blood level work here, you're getting into the adrenochrome area. Is one of your goals is to actually experience some adrenochrome, and not in some Alex Jones way. No, your body produces the reaction, and then because you've worked out or had some pain or that, that's depending on how you do that. You obviously know what you're doing. It's like you don't poke yourself in the head. That acupuncture thing, you see that acupuncture thing? Well, which is actually, if I'm ever going to do anything like that, it's not going to be on camera, because one, I don't know exactly how it's going to be, and one, I need to concentrate and whatever. Yeah, I do concentrate and lose myself when I'm doing the when I record a ritual, but people don't feel how you feel when you're on camera. They don't know how you're feeling or the weird stuff you're seeing, if it's psychedelic or whatever. They don't see that.
Yeah.
Sometimes something interesting happens with the camera, but that's not what happens in the mystic state. But you can bleed half a cup of blood when they poke your head for the you got a headache and the acupuncture. You can bleed half a cup of blood. So obviously, if I have books or a camera and all this other stuff, and you're not supposed to technically show that, there's some rules, and the rest of my content's important enough that I'm not gonna whatever. But yeah. But then again, you don't have the idea that you have to hurt yourself or bleed or any of that other stuff. It's just not necessary like people think it is. You use the opportunity that comes and whatever. Oh, I cut myself in the kitchen. Okay, I'm going to draw something with the blood. That's one thing. But so as I said, some will use ash, some will use blood, whatever. Some will trace with their finger, the sigil of defense and the sigil of the homeland. And no, I don't say this in support of the Department of Homeland Defense or anything like that. That's not what I meant. But yeah. And the other chant that's always going to be included, I have less than 10 minutes before I have to go. Havaksleeve, Wo, Kulti, Hazi, Rum, Zupti. The hell and heaven of gray, or that could be in plural too, is with the presence of a sergeant who tests and trains with knowledge. So that's the Drill Sergeant Gray chant. And I've come to learn like they're a species. And I guess they appear different to different people, and they don't I think probably back when I started having breathing problems due to substandard living at the end of 2003, there were gray beings that sometimes when I didn't know whether I was going to live or die, they were there, like super long fingered. And then I find out about the Temple of Blood, and it's kind of, okay, I can work with it in that context, in certain traumatic moments or whatnot. Someone tries to kill me or something, and yeah, because that I got stuff that happened before I found out about this group. So that was, that's the context there. But I think last summer solstice, there was like 9 of them. There were 9 of these, like, if you hear the descriptions of the Buddhas being like 50% taller than you and that sort of stuff, that's sort of the appearance that these beings took on in a way. But then again, they were grays, but they were like fearsome sort of grays too. But some people say vampire teeth, and I didn't really see that shark teeth thing going on or anything. But yeah, it's like, for me, they're just like beings that are there sometimes. And sometimes it's rituals that they're there for. So without and speaking in the speaking in tongues, that's what you were specifically asking about, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things you want to do, you work yourself up, however you're working yourself up, and it's got to be something verbal. But what you want to do is you want to reduce the activity in your prefrontal cortex and increase it towards the brainstem. That's literally what's happening when if you do glossolalia, that is what happens. So you reduce the control mechanism and you hit there somehow. And this would be in different ways, but you're being expressive and primal or whatever, and then it kind of, but as I said in the thing, you're trying to you drop your voice to the bottom of your stomach at that at that point, the punish thing. And then either it's to correct yourself to do more or not to do, or you can direct it externally as some sort of a curse, and then you'd want to throw in some punish him or something, you know. But the final phrase, F, is we must strive for the existence and future of our people and our children. So I came up with that when I did that ritual 2020, I think. This was also a very specific Temple of Blood thing that I based on some of the literature. As I said, Temple of Blood and Order of Nine Angles are kind of, they come up with some disturbing stories or disturbing things they want to tell you about. But what does the sigil mean? You have the upside down Taiwaz rune as the so lawlessness, disorder, whatever. So it's sort of like a survival symbol. It's sort of like a survival symbol. And so you're surviving beyond law, you're surviving beyond in the midst of chaos and injustice and untruth, that sort of thing. You survive through that stuff. And some people say, well, the nightmare room. So you have the experience, you break through spiritually, and you know how messed up the world is, but here you are, you're going along. And 333 in the darkness, after 3 minutes, you get a third of your night vision will be there. Another 30 minutes, you get the second third. And after 3 hours and 33 minutes, which most people will not ever get unless they wake up in the middle of the night and use that opportunity. So that's one of the things about waking up in the middle of the night. You want to get enough sleep in the middle of the night where you have that much sleep, and your eye, and not only have you recharged yourself a bit with REM sleep and stuff like this, but you actually can see better in the dark, to the point where like you can sometimes have these experiences where you see, like you can have the cover over your face because it's cold or something, which is not the safest thing to recommend. I understand that, but you can actually sometimes see, like if with the lights on, you still couldn't see through the thing, but sometimes you can see through things. But anyways, there's this state, and it's good. It's good for preparations in with hunting and survival stuff, laying around, trying not to get caught, stuff like this, staying still and all that. But it's, so 3 hours, 33 minutes that's the real significance of the whole 333 thing. It's not a time on the clock. The watches of the night make sense. Daylight savings time doesn't mean that it's in a different part of the night. The last third of the night, the last quarter of the night, the last third between dusk and dawn, which is not the same thing as sunrise, sunset, or the last quarter of that sort of stuff's real. There's a difference there spiritually and physically, but that's not 333 on the clock. That's an urban thing, but it's based on some real stuff. And the ancient Egyptians, of course, have talked about those hours of the night. But I guess so if you have any other comments here.
No, not now. Not yet. I liked it when you said surviving beyond injustice. That really struck something in me. Yeah, I've always been against all the injustice, and you see it everywhere, and it really bothers me.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
yeah.
I did not expect to disappear from the screen. I am still in front of the camera, and I disappeared for a moment. Well, we have time to pour through the what I have, and I've never sung it before, so we'll see. But yeah, it's like I talk about insight rolls, just like I do different content on my thing. I'm not a Buddhist. In September, I didn't convert to Judaism. Even if I end up going to even if I find a synagogue that will tolerate me for a few weeks or something, I did not convert to Judaism. I did not convert to, I spent all those years in Eckankar, and I've spent some time in some other stuff. And it's using of modes. And that's what a lot of this stuff is that you're not, you know, you know, it's like people say, yeah, okay, fine, somebody is a victim, but that's not their identity. Trauma-based programming works, but here the thing is, it's directing what's left of you or whatnot towards things. It's not that you're, let's traumatize myself some more. That's not the point. It's not the point for there to be pain. It's not whatever, but you use what's been and all that stuff. But so do you want to do the reading or just respond in different spots, or
whatever you'd like to do.
okay, well I'll do some, and then I'm going to, we have become sturdier, but like the squirrels and chipmunks, we prepare with fervor to shapeshift into a place of no return, behind the fiery faith, through and beyond this rite of them who attend this rite and blood baptism. By shocks and the contrary comes wisdom. Awaken the inner child in our vision. It is not about being naive or mild, but knowing we can be worthy, while doing a will that to some seems merely wild. From acceptance of who we really are, we become more than a human being. Amongst the stellar thunder beams, connections are made with tide smoking things. Then we make the marks and strangely sing. The operator then breaks into glossolalia, are the words that the other side directs him or her to say. And I'm not in the mode, it's not working, but we make the dance that weaves in these 9 threads: firmness of mind, deliberateness of speech, eternally relevant actions, real world success, abundant effort, bodily soundness, a willful spirit, emotional responsiveness, and a wise soul. We bring this belt and our tools upon these conditions to spin this thing. The operator then breaks into glossolalia, are the words that the causal directs him or her to say. Vitality arises under this backwards moon, in our faith beyond peace and destroyers. Our beings are opened with our kindred. Upspringing bliss and truly global vision finds the increasing shadows that we strengthen. Forging alliances, we journey in life to establish our kingdom. There is a plan, but ever spontaneously sing. The operator then breaks into glossolalia, are the words the spiritual directs him or her to say. We are becoming more than human beings as we destroy naivete from the day when the sun has its greatest power, are the least for the southern hemisphere. The dark and hidden beings come in the dead of night's longest or shortest hour. Blood and disciplined flesh evoke with might. Be you a concealer or a revealer, adulthood continues its fight. Masculinity invokes, and 1,000 points of feminine light devours. I'll probably use different voices with that, but that's clear enough there. And backwards moon is in, obviously we're in a waning time of the moon. We're in a waxing time of the moon right now, but we're going to be in a waning time of the moon when this event comes, and that's so I've mentioned the 88 strikes, and just like when you train to fight, that there's some stuff that's, if you brace for it, it's different. So yeah, that can be it too. Some people beat themselves bloody and cut themselves slowly, bleed down the face, and you feel the blood and you meditate on that and all that stuff. And I can't, at the very least, cannot recommend that for legal reasons. But they,
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do, between the different chants, the sharing experiences with that, in between each candle, what that candle means to me, was or the Vabi Zouv Jaz. And I am, how many minutes does it say I have left here? Okay, we have less than 2 minutes, but we've at least listed everything.
All right.
But yeah, feel free to share any thoughts here.
The more than human, that just strikes me and stands out. More than human, as a human, it's like being human. It's like a trap. So being more than human is, yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
just like the other things. I'm not sure. You said you were watching some of the Blonde Stranger in the Creek, and in chapter 5, I tell how me and I bonded with somebody over Aleister Crowley's Conxum Pax and the Wake World, I think it was called. But the thing is, it's all the body, what we're doing with the body and the mind, all that. It's modes. We're not that. We're not that. So the Chariot card, it's not that, and we're not this body. And that's one of the things that we get to. But we better use this body and use this mind to all our strength and stuff while we're here, obviously. And knowing we can be worthy, it's like, well, because that's one of the things. Even if you're poor and you're choosing between giving tithing to the church, they tell you that and providing your needs. I don't, most people don't know what their needs are. They're confused about that. But the people tell you you're worthy to do whatever you're capable of doing. That's the reality of it, I think.
Yeah.
And